this is the middle line. When the wave is closer, okay, so the reason why top laners, oh, we're gonna make another color's top lane. We're gonna make top laners, but the reason why the reason why top laners stand in the brush and stand here for 3 seconds, it pulls this entire wave to right here, okay? And what it does is you go into the brush and it pulls the wave into the brush and it clumps up the minions. And if nothing's done here, the minions will go into that like a line. So what happens then is we have minions that look like... Holy shit, this is such a bad explanation. So we have the minions grouped here, while the blue minions are, you know, going into that. So the lane is obviously going to push this way, okay? This means that the lane is gankable. Like, so the lane's not always going to turn up like this, but let's just say it's like level 2 or 3, and you push them into tower. Let's say this is the 3rd wave. Let's say you push 2 waves in the tower, and your creeps are coming and ended up over here, and now it's going this way. So there's several ways your jungler can gank, and the enemy jungler can gank. For the blue side jungler, he can A, sit in here. Well, he can come through lane too, but you can sit in here if you're there at the start. You're not going to be there at level 2 or 3, but let's just say like any level for like time's keeping sake. And you can go from here. And then some people like to go from over here, like over here. And then on the opposite side, oh god, where did it go? On the opposite side, let's say if it was switched, if you would gank from here, here, or here. A lot of Rek'Sais and Jarvans and Lee Sins, they like to gank around this area. They like to go behind. Fucking hell. So those are like the 3 spots you can gank. Now for the timing, now the important thing to note is, let's say both junglers are coming. Let's say you're purple side. So for the top laner, if the lane is volatile for like Renekton or Riven, which is it usually is for those matchups, you either come through lane or through here, and that's just going to be the, and this is going to be the blue side, that's going to be purple side jungler. These arrows are indicated as junglers. Now they can be hiding in the brushes and come at any time in the lane. Now let's say that the lane is stacking up here, like around here. This is usually when I get ganked. There's like, I don't know what, 9 creeps, and then there's like 6, I don't know, whatever. And the laner will use black as fuck, that's not the color I want. Why can't I use black? We're gonna say black is your champion, and then white is their champion. And let's say both of the laners are like mid health. The blue side jungler would be sitting either here or in here at the time, and the purple side jungler would be sitting over here, over here. And when the lane pushes up like this, this means that this target is gankable. Now vice versa, the person who needs the jungler more is the white champion, because the purple side champion, like, he can get ganked by the jungler easily from here or here, while the lane's volatile. And if let's say he goes away, let's say he avoids the gank, this guy, he can freeze the lane and it could be just stuck right here. And he'll freeze the lane and this guy will just lose a ton of farm. That's why this guy needs the jungler more than this guy, because if he's scared if his ward, if he backs off, then he loses farm. But if he stays and then he gets ganked and the jungler counter ganks, this guy wins. And the reason why is because there's more minions. There's less minions. Now, it obviously depends on mechanics and how this fight starts. So let's say the jungler goes in first, the top laner goes in first, like someone's flash is down. Like there's all that kind of stuff. But the basic concept is when it pushes towards you, you can get ganked. Now, there's rare scenarios where the top laner can 2 versus 1 these two, and that's usually when there's like a fucking billion fucking creeps. Like, I don't know, it's like a shit ton of creeps, and you go in on the white guy, and then you just die, because the creeps are basically doing champions worth of damage, because there's too many creeps. But when there isn't enough creeps, like a good example is over here, let's say you're in this part of the lane. So let me tell you when not to gank. This is a very common thing that happens. So when not to gank, let's say the wave is like right here, and the tower is about to, or the wave's about to die, and there's like fucking, like, I don't know, like a billion creeps, and then your junglers, this is fuck. This is you. This is the enemy champion, and he's like sitting in the wave, and your jungler wants to gank over here. If you're below and your jungler ganks and these creeps die and the creeps go into tower, you're going to be fighting these creeps without a wave, and you're going to be fighting this champion. You could potentially get 2 versus 1 or 1 for 1. There's a lot of scenarios where it goes 1 for 1 because it's really close, but this is the worst time to gank. It's actually not the best time to gank. Unless your top laner is like owning them really badly and you can ignore the wave, this is like the worst time to gank. Unless you guys are really fed. That's the only scenario. If you're even, let's say if their jungler was like, if their jungler was sitting in here, then you're fucked, because there you have all these creeps. Now, it depends if you're ahead or behind, but when you're even, this is the worst time to gank. Now, usually the best times of ganks are usually in the middle of the lane, which are like basically around here, like in this area. In this area is usually the area you want to gank in, or actually it's like around in the gravel, not in the grass, like in this different texture of dirt or whatever. This is usually the best area to gank, because when it gets to the green part, that's when it becomes more dangerous to gank. It's like some fucking John Madden shit. Now, there's different scenarios where ganks can turn into tower dives. So, for example, now let's say you're. Let me go back to the previous point. This is actually really important. Pay attention to this. This is really fucking important. This is what's gonna change you. This is gonna be the difference between you being challenger and. Or Challenger, LCS, Diamond, like this is going to be the difference. So, let's say there's a wave building up. It's been building up for a really long time. And your jungler's here. Your jungler's here. Now, let's say this jungler is not here, and you trade with this guy, and you're both like really low HP, and there's a big wave. Now, what's scary for this guy is even though you can gank him with a jungler, if his jungler is not there and your jungler is there, if he gets any, like, if you hit a level 6 power spike, if you hit a level 9 power spike, level 11 power spike, and you go into the tower, and you have more creeps coming, right? You have more creeps coming. And it's going to build up into this huge wave. You'll see this very commonly happen in Challenger right now, because there's a lot of players that are really good at diving. It goes into tower, basically, and you just dive with all of these creeps and your jungler, and you just dive. You just go for it. Now you'll see a lot of fails, but if the jungler is not there to protect you on the dive, which is what happens to me a lot, like, it's also a risk for this guy. So there's two kinds of advantages and disadvantages. So we're just gonna make it simple. For the blue side champion, the advantage is if you have a stronger 2 versus 2, you can gank them. You could fight 2 on 2 with the creeps and win. Now the disadvantage is if your jungler is not there, you can get dove. If you trade, you can get dove. That's why you see people not trade that much, and that's why you see me playing scared so much at this point. Because every time I play aggressive, if I get low and I get dove, I lose all of these creeps, and then you're just really sad. So we don't want that. What we want to do is just play safe and sit under tower, and this is why jungle pressure is so important for top, because 10, 20 CS difference, 1, 2 level difference, this changes the game. Because what happens in the TP meta is when the enemy top laner gets 1 or 2 levels ahead, they go all the way to bot lane with TP, and then they just kill everyone. Because top laners can like just TP everywhere. So this is disadvantages for the purple side champion. So let's say their jungler's here and your jungler isn't. So let's say their jungler's like, I don't know, in here, right? And then you just decide to back off. You get frozen on, and you lose all this farm and more farm that's coming. Now you can get a buy timer, but when you come back to lane, this guy's gonna be like level 5 while you're level 4 in terms of EXP, and you're just gonna fall behind. It might as well have been a gank. What's worse is staying and dying, but that's like there's so much to think about as a top laner. So in this next sub game I'll apply it more and show you what I mean. But the disadvantages is you can get frozen on, you can get ganked, and this is why the person with more creeps needs a jungler more. But the thing is, the guy with the less creeps that's pushing in the tower doesn't need jungle as much. So let's say if you're really strong and your jungler's helping you a lot, I'd say push a lot and force it to push back to you. So this is how lanes get pushed back and set up in that position. So let's say you're pushing the lane right and it's like over here and you're pushing the lane slowly. Let's say there's like, I don't know, 4 creeps here and then like 5 creeps coming, and you're pushing into tower, right? The moment it hits into tower, what's going to happen is the creeps are going to die over here, and the next waves are going to be coming, and while the creeps are dying here at the tower, at the tower, there's going to be a creep wave coming over here, and your minions over here are just going to get clumped up. So instead of it being even in the lane again, it's going to be like clumped up basically. And even though it's the same amount of creeps, it's going to be like lower. Even though it's going to be like lower HP than these minions, since it's clumped up, they do more damage. Like in any MMO or any logical MOBA game, when you're grouped up and you focus down one target, these creeps are going to focus down this one minion, even if they're lower, and it's going to die faster. And since it's closer to the blue side's tower, it's going to build up and build a wave, and that's how you set up ganks. That's what you see so much in like really good top laners. You have the waves building up here, and then you have the creeps coming over here, and then you have like, you know, the creeps dying over here, and the waves building up, and you have like the champions and the junglers and fucking all this shit. And for the white side, like, you can gank him, but the thing is, the person on the purple side pushed into tower. They set this up so you can call for your jungler a minute in advance, which is what a lot of good top laners do, a minute in advance, and you can gank. You can gank this guy. You can gank him, and that's when he calls for his jungler, and he's like, "Oh shit, I need help," you know. And you can counter gank. So those are the basics. And then after that is the diving. So let's see if we can apply these concepts into the next game.